Welcome to episode 9 of Escape the Rat Race Radio. I'm your host, Christian Rodwell, and this is your ticket to escape the 9 to 5.
If I was to do it again, and if I was to suggest it to anyone who is planning on escaping the rat race, is to follow their passion and do something that they are very interested in, because you can very quickly burn out and lose interest and energy if it's something that you're doing purely for money rather than because you genuinely love it.
You're not going to make millions on book sales alone. And the point being that you can leverage that book to then go on to be seen as an authority, and then through that start looking at additional income streams.
On today's episode, I have the pleasure of welcoming Patti Drewek and Iain Scott. Now, Patti and Iain are the co-founders and creators of the Book Catalyst program. Now, if you've been thinking about writing a book for maybe a number of months or even maybe many years and you've never got round to it, then the Book Catalyst program is specifically for you. Patti and Iain have put together a 24-module online program which takes you step by step through every section that you need to consider when writing your own book. Now, the benefits of writing a book are many, but if you're a coach, a trainer, a speaker, a business owner, any kind of entrepreneur that has a message to share with many people, then a book is one of the best business growth tools that exist in the marketplace today. And a book can be written very quickly indeed. In fact, the Book Catalyst program promises to you that you can write your book in under 24 hours. Now, if you think that's maybe just pushing it a little too far, then in today's interview, Patti and Iain will be sharing exactly how that's possible and how many of their students have already created their book and published it in under 1 month. So if you've always wanted to know how to get a book out to the marketplace, how to share your message with the world, then I know you're going to love today's episode. So don't let anything distract you for the next 30 minutes, and let's head over right now to the interview with Patti Drewek and Iain Scott from Book Catalyst. So this week I'm really proud to have Patti Drewek and Iain Scott, who are the co-founders of the Book Catalyst program. Hi Patti, hi Iain.
Hello Chris, I'm very good. Yourself?
Yeah, how are you both doing today?
Good.
Really good. Hi Chris, how are you doing?
Excellent. So Patti, Iain, we've been speaking for a little while now because the Book Catalyst program is such a powerful opportunity for anyone who has been putting off writing a book for some time. A system that you've put together which shows them how they can write a book in 24 hours. And I've seen the proof, I've seen some of the results, and the program, I think, is absolutely exceptional. So congratulations, first and foremost. And it would be really fantastic today to find out a little bit more about how the program came together, and obviously to find out a little bit about your personal stories. So maybe Patti, if you kick us off and share some of your story of how you came about creating the Book Catalyst.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. I started thinking about escaping the rat race probably back in 2012. And in sort of 2013, 2014, I went to this seminar, business seminar, where they were talking about the importance of writing a book and becoming an author in order to establish yourself as an authority in your field. And I believe it actually was Daniel Priestley who was speaking at the time, and sort of he talked about, the fact that you need to publish to be the authority. And it sort of spoke to me at the time, and I was thinking, okay, well, maybe that's the thing that I should do, take that next step in my business. And in 2015, I met Iain at a public speaking conference, and we just started talking about our respective books and how we're getting on with writing it and what sort of things it did to our business, the positives that we've started noticing as soon as we started writing the book and speaking to people about the fact that we were writing a book. With time, it actually turned out that we've decided to combine our respective experiences and put together a product that would help others achieve what we've been achieving and help them become authors in as quick time as possible and in the best way possible.
what are some of the common reasons that you come across from people who've always kind of had that book inside of them, and for whatever reason it may be, they've just been putting it off, whether it's a little bit of uncertainty as to the steps to take, or they feel maybe some overwhelmed by the task? What is it that you most commonly hear people saying?
Two things that I hear most of the time. One of the thing is, oh, actually, I don't have time to write. It takes such a long time to write a book. It will be years before I become a published author. And the second thing is, I'm not very good at writing. I can't imagine myself writing a book. It just seems like a very overwhelming task. So these are the two things that I hear most of the time.
A lot of what people also are concerned about is where the content comes from, even where to start. What people tend to do is look at a blank piece of paper and go, okay, well, this is where I need to begin. And one of the things that the Book Catalyst program says is, whatever you do, don't look at a blank piece of paper. In fact, there's even in one of the free modules of the Book Catalyst course talks about things like a time schedule, some of the techniques, for example, being able to speak your book, being interviewed for your book to get ideas, creating a book outline. All these things are really how we can jump the hurdles that are stopping us from starting.
We'll get into a bit more of the content of the Book Catalyst program. I'd like to just take a step back, because you're both entrepreneurs and you've built this business, and I'd love to hear a bit about how that process came about. And for anyone who's listening who is currently in a 9-to-5 job and they're hating it, they've got a business idea, but they're just not quite sure how to get started. They've never necessarily set up a business before. It'd be really interesting if you could share some of the processes that you went through to actually get to a position now where you've got your own digital product and you're marketing that, and you're now out there in the marketplace selling. So who'd like to share some of the background there?
I think we both can contribute in so equal ways, because I think we both brought different things to the table. When I met Iain and we decided to become business partners, Iain was already running an established business for quite a long period of time. And I've been reasonably new to it, just a few years of experience of escaping the rat race. The idea behind Book Catalyst and what we were doing was to create a product that is able to earn money without us having to physically go to work and invest any more time. So producing a digital online training program was an excellent way, because you produce it once and it can be delivered to many people at the same time. And that was something that was important to us, to create something like that. It's not an overnight thing. And I think for anyone who's looking to escape, don't expect to leave your day job and then start earning money and become a millionaire very quickly. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It takes a very long time. We started planning Book Catalyst way before we actually decided to set up a business. We've been talking about it for several months. We set up a business in November 2015, but we actually went live in September 2016. So that's quite a long time of preparation, of creating the content, of putting it together, of planning it. And if I was to do it again, and if I was to suggest it to anyone who is planning on escaping the rat race, is to follow their passion and do something that they are very, very, very interested in, because you can very quickly burn out and lose interest and energy if it's something that you're doing purely for money rather than because you genuinely love it.
This question kind of takes me back a little bit to when I even first started one of the first companies that I set up, which was online marketing. The passion is by far what saw me through some of the hardest times that I experienced at the beginning, middle, and even some times more recently. What motivates you to carry on is the passion for what you do. Other things like finance planning, absolutely. Getting and being motivated and finding people around you, surrounding yourself with people who are equally as entrepreneurial and as motivated has been something I didn't expect, actually. Patti quickly referenced a public speaking conference that we met at, and it's really through that that we've made some great contacts, similar-minded people that have both encouraged us, but also just a sounding board for someone to talk to, people to speak with about the problems and some of the challenges. So I think for anyone who's looking to quit their 9 to 5 and escape the rat race, is to get involved in the circles that will keep them going and surround themselves with people that will motivate them and be there through the challenging times that they'll have ahead.
For anyone who doesn't like roller coasters, then the entrepreneurial journey is certainly a roller coaster at times. And as you say, having the right support network around you, people who are like-minded and on the same journey, can certainly help pull you through those tough times when just nothing seems to be going your way. And a phrase that I really like is success is a lagging indicator, in the means of you have to put in a lot of work up front and you don't necessarily see the results immediately, but you've got to use that passion that you talked about, Ian, haven't you? Because that really is what's going to keep driving you. And yeah, it's good to hear that story from both of you there. So Patti, your background was the banking industry. Did you always think that something creative like online courses was an area that you would move into? And when you did make that transition from employee to entrepreneur, what were the first steps that you took in order to start building a residual income and additional income?
So it's quite interesting because I've listened to your podcast with Daniel Priestley, and he was talking about some of entrepreneurial things that he was doing when he was a kid. And it sort of took me back on the journey to when I was a kid and the sort of things that I was doing that probably are indicative of where I am right now, which was, selling books at home to my mum and dad from my bedroom, and always looking at ways that I can earn some money, even though they were petty money, but it was just about finding ideas and following through with them. When I was working in my last role before I escaped, one of the girls at work, she suggested that I'm very good at coaching people through like some different issues that people were facing at work, some challenges. And she's asked me if I ever considered to become a coach. That was foreign to me. I didn't know what coaching was at the time. And so I looked it up and found a coaching school that looked quite interesting, went to their opening weekend, and I was sold on the idea that there is a world outside of your corporate career and that there is something that you can actually help others and make money on something that you seem to be quite natural at. So that was sort of my first interaction. But I've realized later on that wasn't necessarily the best solution, because that was trading time for money. That was whatever hours that I was working, coaching people, that's when I was earning. And it sort of gave me a bit of sometimes anxiety, because I didn't know necessarily where my money is going to come from. And I think it's important when you do decide to escape the rat race is to build a business that is a little bit more sustainable. Something that is like, for instance, creating an online product where, becoming an author is an amazing base for. Because you're able to share your knowledge with more than one person at a time. So that's when I've started writing my first book. That was because I felt like I needed to share my knowledge and what I wanted to give to people in a different way to just giving it through one-to-one. So that's where the book idea came along, and it just went on from there.
So let's look at just why having a book is so advantageous to somebody who, as you mentioned there, is building a business with real purpose. They've got a strong message to share with lots of people, and a book is just such an effective tool at growing your business. So let's look at really, who is the Book Catalyst program aimed at, Patti?
I believe that Book Catalyst is aimed at anyone who wants to position themselves as an authority in their field. It may be someone who's already running a business and wants to create a tool that will help them stand out from competition. Or it could be for someone who is an employee but wants to stand out from other employees or other people that are doing similar type jobs so that they can sell themselves better at job interviews. Imagine going to a next job interview and telling someone that you've written a book on a topic that you are working at in the area that you're working at. That's going to make you definitely a more attractive candidate than some others maybe that haven't written a book. And it's similar with being a business owner who've written a book. That's going to make you stand out. And I think that's quite a powerful thing when you think about coaches. There are so many coaches out there and so many coaches doing similar things. If you're looking for a coach and you are faced with a choice and you saw that someone's written a book on a topic that you want to be coached at, then I think your choice will be a lot clearer, because you're more likely to choose the coach that actually written a book, because you kind of see them as an expert, an authority in the field.
A great story that appears in the course actually is one of my own personal stories. And that was when I was in one of my other businesses, we hired a business coach, as Patti mentioned, as an option for business coaches to use it to write a book. My business partner and I had at the time had a conversation with this coach on the phone, and we spoke through some of our challenges and issues, and it was great to speak with him. And then separately, about a week later, we both received a signed copy of his book. Now, immediately that stood out to us as something that we hadn't received, for example, by anyone else that we'd spoken to. But it also showed us and demonstrated to us that this guy knew what he was talking about, because he'd essentially written a book on the subject. That was a bit of an eye-opener. So instead of just giving us a follow-up letter or a leaflet or a business card, this guy's name is David Parrish, was actually giving us a copy of his book. And that, as a takeaway, instead of a book, can be incredibly powerful. And we even say that, once you've published your book, to have copies of it at business meetings and networking events that you go to, because you're going to be remembered over and above a business card.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. I know that when I've been to events and there's been a speaker and they've given us a complimentary copy of the book, it really stays in your memory and it's impressive. Not only does it enforce your authority, it opens up additional income streams as well, doesn't it, Iain?
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of additional income streams, and certainly with regards to the book Catalyst, it goes into details on creating your own online course, ironically, information products, being booked for talks, running your own seminars, running your own workshops, other speaking engagements, and general marketing as well. So I think it's clear to say, and we do say this at the beginning of the course, that you're not going to make millions on book sales alone. This isn't a fiction book that we're suggesting entrepreneurs write. This is a non-fiction book. And the point being that you can leverage that book to then go on to be seen as an authority, and then through that start looking at additional income streams.
And Patti, if someone says, okay, well, look, I'd love to have a book, but I'm rubbish at writing, it's never been one of my strengths. What advice would you have for them, and how could a Book Catalyst program show them that actually, they can still write a book?
Book Catalyst training program was designed to give you tools and ideas on creating content that is fun and it's quick and it's very effective. One of the things that I tend to say to someone who says that they are not very good at writing is to ask them if they're good at speaking. And they usually laugh, because obviously that speaking is something that we do naturally. And often if you ask someone what they do and ask them some questions about their business, they speak very freely and openly. And my response to that would be, well, that there is your book. You don't have to write. You can take, your mobile phone and voice record it, whatever it is that you want to say, and then send it for transcription. And there it is, your book. Obviously, it's not as simple because you need to edit it, etc. But, the idea is that you don't have to write. You also, I think one of the coolest things that we came across when writing our training program was that you actually can even be interviewed for your book. You can arrange to meet with someone, give them some questions that you feel are relevant to a particular chapter, and get them to create a dialogue with you and ask you some questions. And you will be surprised at how many exciting things come out of that. You record that, you get it transcribed, and you've got text for your book, or at least a good start to build on. So it's fun and it's quick and it's very effective. We also share loads of other tips and ideas in our training program, but that's just one of them.
I've seen the amount of content that is packed into the program, and it's laid out so easy to follow. It really is a step-by-step program. And that was going to lead me on to asking, Book Catalyst is all about writing your own book in 24 hours, which, is kind of someone might look at that and say, really? Can it really be done in 24 hours? So, what's the process that actually can help someone to do that?
The reason why we say that you can do it in 24 hours is because you can. Mathematically, you can. We've worked out formulas for this thing, and we've tested it on ourselves, and we've achieved it, and we believe others can as well. And one of the ways is, if let's say you decide to speak your book, you speak on average about 150 words per minute. Obviously, we're not expecting someone to just, speak their book for an hour nonstop. That would be crazy. But, we're anticipating that someone may speak about 2,500 words in 30 minutes and then spend the other 30 minutes on the editing, whatever they've spoken. That is what, using that formula, in about 10 hours, you would have had 10 chapters of your book written, which is on average what we would expect someone to write in order to have a book completed. That just seems to be the right number for non-fiction books. We give you many ideas on how you can complete your book within those 24 hours. And that's whether you choose to speak, to write, or to be interviewed for your book. We show you how you can manage your time. But also, I think what a lot of people are forgetting is by saying that they don't have time to write. But if your book is part of your business growth strategy, it's to take your business to the next level, you should treat writing a book in the same way as you would any other business meeting that you may have. So I suggest that you arrange a time in your diary for a meeting with yourself, the author of your book. Spend that time, maybe an hour a week or whatever it is that you can commit to writing a book, and you do it during your working hours. So a lot of people think that maybe you need to do it in the evenings or the weekends, but if it's a part of your business growth strategy, then I strongly believe that it should be done during your working hours.
As I said, it's laid out in such a way that you've covered, you haven't left any part uncovered, literally to, titles, subtitles, your target audience, how to put together your own book website, interviewing people for the book, the time schedule. It's very, very detailed, isn't it? I guess this is what makes the Book Catalyst program unique, Iain.
The Book Catalyst program essentially is just saying there's this big task of writing and selling your own book, and writing and publishing your own book actually can be broken down into few easy bite-sized tasks. I'm trying to think of who the famous person who came up with the quote about, all it takes is just breaking it down into manageable size pieces, and all of a sudden the hardest, biggest task is absolutely achievable. And this is essentially what the Book Catalyst program is. It says, look, yes, writing a book, creating a book is big, but if you break it down like we have here, then it becomes a lot easier. I mean, even more than that, looking at the modules on the website, you can see that completing your book is actually module 16 out of 24. So while creating the book is 2/3 of it, the other 1/3 is what you do when you've created and written the book, which is leveraging the book to become an authority and start making some money. So you're right, there is a lot of content in there.
I'm glad you covered that. I was going to mention, it doesn't just end at, okay, well, I've got a book now, what do I do? It's the publishing side of it, which a lot of people maybe, again, think, I need to go out and get a publisher, but you go through all of that process.
We cover various different types of publishing methods. We strongly encourage people to use self-publishing purely for the fact that if it's a book written for your business and to be used as a marketing tool or business growth strategy tool, it's important for it to be published as quickly as possible. With self-publishing, you have more control over how it's published, when it's published, and how quickly it's published. So, we go into in depth about publishing. We also give you a publishing guide with loads of tools and loads of information to help you to make it as quick and easy as possible.
Would it be realistic for someone listening to the podcast right now who has been putting off the task of writing a book for, could be months, could be years? Is it realistic to say that if they were to join a Book Catalyst program, that in a month's time, they could actually physically be holding a copy of their book?
Yes, very much so. And not only obviously that we show you how you can become an author within 24 hours, to actually self-publish a book and have a printed copy. You can do it in a week or maximum 2 weeks, once your book is finished. So it's very much, it all can be done in less than 30 days. We know you can because our students achieved that and they've taken their business to the next level. But what's the most important, I think, to reiterate, that publishing a book is one thing and holding that paper copy, but it's the magic that starts happening when you start writing a book and when you change your signature in your email to say an author of, and you give your book title as soon as you have it. People start looking at you in a very different way. It starts opening doors that were previously closed. You start making connections that previously were not possible. You're just entering a totally different world. And I think that's what's the most exciting. It gives you that buzz and drive and determination to complete it. And it's extremely exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I'm getting excited just talking to you guys about it. It really is that achievable. There's nothing at all that anyone listening should let themselves be held back. Everything is covered here, really, in terms of how to get the design done, how to run a workshop then. And what about a book launch? Is that something that you advise for people?
I very much think that it depends on what you want to use your book for. But imagine, let's say you've written a book, you organize a workshop or a seminar, and you use that occasion to promote your book as well and invite some people and use that as a book launch. I mean, there are loads of ideas that we share with you in one of our modules, which is like marketing your book, where we talk about how you can launch your book and what creative ways you can do it to actually even earn some money in the process and raise awareness about your business and your book.
So, Patti, for anyone that's listening now who just wants to dive straight in and get started straight away, then you've very kindly agreed to offer a special discount to all of the listeners of Scaling the Rat Race Radio. Would you mind sharing that, please?
Yes, Chris, that's correct. Ian and I would like to offer you 15% discount when purchasing Book Catalyst training program. In order to claim your discount, you need to head to etrr.online/book catalyst and enter promo code, which is podcast15. That entitles you to 15% discount.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, Patti. So for anyone who didn't catch that, just head over to etrr.online/book catalyst and enter the promo code podcast15. You guys do webinars regularly as well, don't you?
Yeah, we have regular webinars once a week, but we also have a YouTube channel where I post loads of videos about different tips and ideas to help you on your journey of becoming an author. So there are loads of ways of reaching us.
Again, etrr.online/book catalyst, where you can go and you can do the first 3 modules for free, if I'm correct.
Yep, that's absolutely right. You can sign up for free. The first 3 modules, no obligation, just a lot of content in those. You've got a 70-minute video for the introduction and a couple of other modules to get you started before you have to commit to anything.
It's been such a pleasure speaking to you both, and it's been really inspiring because a book is something that I think many people feel is a daunting task, but it's something that many people really would love to achieve in their life. And you've managed to make it such an achievable reality in a short space of time. And I'm pretty sure that once someone's done their first book and seen how simple the process is, that they'll quickly want to do their second and their third. And I'm sure you've probably got some of those stories already amongst your members.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Patti and I are working on our joint second book using and following the Book Catalyst program. So yeah, good luck to those people who do and looking forward to speaking with those people soon as well.
Well, thank you so much for both joining me today on the Escape the Rat Race podcast. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you. And we look forward to having many more authors through the Book Catalyst program coming soon.
You do. It's been our pleasure. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening to episode 9 today. And if you enjoyed the interview, then please spare 2 minutes to go into iTunes now on your phone and search for Escape the Rat Race podcast. Then click the image and you'll see the reviews where there'll be an option to leave us a 5-star rating and positive review. They really, really help us. So I really appreciate your time. You can also find the full show notes from today with all of the links mentioned and ways to get in touch and find out more about our guest speakers. And if you have any feedback regarding today's episode or specific questions you'd like for me to answer on a future episode, then you can get in touch with me directly by emailing chris@etrr.online. So that's it from me. Remember to live your life with purpose and passion and don't let anybody tell you that something isn't possible. Until next time, have an amazing week. To fast track your escape out of the 9-to-5, you can join our private Facebook group by either searching for Escape the Rat Race within 12 months or by heading to the official Escape the Rat Race website over at www.etrr.online/Facebook.